I actually came from a Jesuit school, Xavier, and most people or most students in Xavier really tend to go to Ateneo. So in fact, Ateneo was my first choice as well. However, unfortunately, LaSalle offered me a scholarship, which made me rethink my decision on whether or not to go to Ateneo or LaSalle. Eventually, ended up choosing LaSalle, partly because of the scholarship, but also because of the possibility of obtaining a double degree. So, nung time na yun, I got economics and finance, which I eventually dropped one of them, right? But that's a different story. I think what LaSalle did to me was to allow me to perhaps discover and enhance some of the talents which I never found out during high school. Actually, when I was in high school, I was more of a very mediocre student. So, papasok lang mag-aaral and I go home immediately. And in LaSalle, I joined the debate society, which really changed a lot for me. It taught me how to speak well. It broadened my horizons in terms of knowing about different issues, which normally I wouldn't care about and I'd be different about before. So I think it really made me more articulate. It made me more conscious of the things that happened around me. But more than that, also with the help of my professors, I think it also instilled in me a passion for learning. I was invited to be a research assistant during my early years, and at that point, I realized how important and how huge the potential of research is. And at that point, medyo tuloy-tuloy na. The first core value would be faith. When you speak of faith, I think it's not just supposed to be very ritualistic, like going to mass or experiencing the sacraments. I think that's a very shallow form of faith. I think when you talk about faith, it has to be a very personal relationship with God, one that you nurture and one that makes you a better person, not only for yourself but also for other people. Which leads me to the second core value, which is zeal for service. I think people should be able to find their niche amongst the alternative ways you can help people or a community or the community. In this case, I for one, as a debater, have been engaged in a lot of, let's say, teaching missions, or when we go to different high schools to coach them. And I think it's something that's very important for children or for young people, especially those who still have a lot to know about the world and those who still want to actually improve their communication skills. And that's what we've been doing. In fact, the Lasalle Debate Society has already established a lot of debate organizations around different high schools, not only in Manila, but also in provinces as well. Last would be community and mission. I think the mission, right, of a Lasallian student or a Lasallian graduate would not only be to excel for himself, but also to excel for other people. So in that case, when we do things or when we actually engage in any endeavor, the mindset should not only be enriching yourself, but also enriching the way people live or the well-being of people, and doing things not only for your end, right, but also for other people's end as well. I think when you imbibe Lasallian core values, it's not something that you remind yourself of or you keep in mind of. I think it has to be a lifestyle, right? So you can't just turn it on and turn it off. And when it becomes a lifestyle, I think you just become more exemplary in what you do. You don't settle for mediocrity. You always find purpose in what you do and eventually become happy with whatever you're working with. And I think that's very important, especially when you're already working for 8 hours a day and it becomes quite tedious. I think people need that purpose to keep on going, and I think that's how it's helped me for my work. I think definitely I am happy being Lasallian. I think, truth be told, DLSU may not be recruiting the best students, right? But I think what it does, right, is that it transforms what perhaps previously average students, right, or previously mediocre students to students who really excel. Right? And I think that's the beauty of Lasallian education, which no other institution is really able to give. Right? And it's where people find their strengths, it's where people are able to capitalize on whatever talents that they have. Definitely not. At first I did. It was a very different environment for me, especially coming from a Jesuit school. The value systems were also very different. And but eventually, I saw the value not only of Lasallian education, but also the people I met. I think the diversity of people in LaSalle in itself is already quite commendable. And thankfully, the course that I went into also had some of the best professors in the industry and in the discipline. So definitely no regrets.
Thank you.
Okay.